Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Totally Awesome podcast. I'm your host, Annabelle Saldana, and today I'm here to talk about a fantastic piece of literature titled Stealing Little Moon, The Legacy of American Indian Boarding Schools by Dan Sasaway Jones. Although it was published as recently as September 3rd of last year, it truly takes readers back to 1884, when the Chilocco Indian Agricultural School first opened its doors. It is a winner of the 2025 Orbis Pictus Awards, an award that recognizes outstanding nonfiction literature and has been highly praised by academics and literary critics alike for its thoughtful and meaningful contents. Make sure to stay till the end to hear about two important and honorable mentions. All that being said, let's dive right into the nitty-gritty. When educators begin to think about how to cultivate effective and engaging literature instruction, what comes to mind? One factor we should all consider is a piece of literature's value in promoting higher-level thinking, as well as in a book's ability to influence text-to-world and text-to-text connections. The author Dan Sasaway does an incredible job at piecing together a non-fictional narrative/biography that does just that. Sasaway himself comes from a long line of residential school survivors, all of whom attended Chilocco Indian Agricultural School at some point in time. It's truly inspiring to see how he utilizes his personal knowledge and experience surrounding these boarding schools to share the important and emotional stories of his family and the overall legacy these reformed schools have made on hundreds of thousands of lives. He cultivates and utilizes information presented in this book to validate and recognize the individual voices of survivors that have been historically suppressed and silenced, ensuring this message is not lost through the fabric of time. When examining how text-to-text connections can be made to Stealing Little Moon, one can think of other books that also discuss and showcase historical instances of social inequality, such as Be a King by Carol Boston Weatherford, or Separate is Never Equal by Duncan Tonatua. Such books also encourage the act of cross-integrating social studies content alongside reading instruction in early childhood settings, an important factor that can even influence text-to-world connections. Now, when considering text-to-world implications in this regard, it's all about promoting the discussion of how similar circumstances or injustices present themselves in modern communities, both locally and around the world, in addition to how they are presented in historical contexts. Upper early childhood grade level benchmarks also really emphasize an adequate level of understanding in secondary versus primary sources. And it just so happens that Stealing Little Moon demonstrates a wonderful example of how secondary sources are organized and utilized in early research endeavors. Because it is a form of nonfiction text, there are various examples of nonfiction genre characteristics, with the pages including examples such as photographs, captions, headings, charts, and indexes. It is not an exaggeration to propose the idea that this book has it all while simultaneously introducing young readers to longer literary formats such as chapter books and fostering higher order vocabulary acquisition. Overall, the book Stealing Little Moon is an incredibly inspiring piece of literature that helps to further promote insightful and necessary conversations to be had surrounding individual cultural identity and how unique cultural components shape and influence the diverse society we reside in. It also provides an important means for meaningful representation for Indigenous students like myself, and further establishes the message that despite our unique struggles as a people, we continue to stand strong in the face of adversity, a message that is crucial for Indigenous youth in the modern age. All right, before we wrap things up here in today's episode, I would like to make two honorable mentions to some other books where we are addressing the topic of nonfiction and biographical literature. The first one is called Holding Her Own, The Exceptional Life of Jackie Orr Mays by Tracy N. Todd. Now this one's another biography, but in the form of a picture book this time around. It has won several awards, with the Coretta Scott King Book Award and the Robert F. Cyber Informational Book Award being just a few. Each page of this book thoughtfully and beautifully illustrates the personal and professional life of Jackie Orr Mays, the first African-American comic book artist. With the deliberate and creative implementation of social studies cross-integration, Educators should really be able to practice and reinforce literary concepts, such as reading comprehension, alongside African American history during the Civil Rights era. It is recommended for grades 2 to 5 and can act as a perfect formal introduction to the world of biographies for young readers, and is inclusive and diverse in its messaging, optimal for diverse classroom environments. And finally, the last piece of literature I'd like to discuss is titled Honeybee, The Busy Life of Apis mellifera by Candace Fleming. It has won the Orbis Pictus Award for Outstanding Nonfiction for Children, as well as has other honorable mentions. The book's contents effectively and meaningfully inform young readers about the life cycle and biology of the common worker bee. The book also includes a wide variety of nonfiction text features such as diagrams, headings, subheadings, and informational illustrations. It's truly a wonderful book to get students thinking scientifically as well, beginning with biology and really understanding what constitutes a living thing versus a non-living thing. It also really gets students thinking about those higher order vocabulary words, creating a perfect blend of both science and literacy. And I believe, sadly, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining me this week on this episode of the Totally Awesome Podcasts. You can find me where all podcasts are available. Hope to see you soon.